All right. Hey, Jody, Holland here with the video blog Psyche of Success. I've got Matt Lee with me. Matt is the founder, creator, and innovator behind Allergic to Average. I met Matt, just a little bit before this last January?
Yep.
And he was one of the sponsors for my growth conference in Amarillo, Texas. So I'm with Matt today. I've got some really cool questions, but first off, just if I missed anything, introduce a little bit more about yourself.
My name is Matt. Born and raised in Amarillo, Texas. Allergic to Average is a lifestyle motivational brand. So just taking the message and leading with that, changing people's mindset on not just accepting what society says should be, the norm, challenging the status quo, and then we have a way of branding that way of thinking and saying this is what defines me as being allergic.
Very cool. Now you speak in a lot of high schools and junior highs and places like that, trying to help kids figure that out. Correct?
Yes.
Awesome. And you've done some college campuses as well, correct?
Yes, a few summer camps, churches, different businesses, stuff like that. So.
That's awesome. One of the things I liked about Matt is that when you start thinking about that concept of allergic to average, there are so many people in this world that their objective is to be normal, to be like everybody else, and that kind of stuff. And so when you said it's a lifestyle brand, that was one of the things I'm like, okay, I get that, because for me, my definition of success is having the life where I get to do the things I love.
Absolutely.
Even if it's not what normal is described as.
Yes.
Very cool. All right, so let's jump into the show here. I want to start with the tough one. What is your definition of success?
Yeah, that is a tough one. And I think, honestly, that's been something that it's constantly changed through the years. But I think to put it in a nutshell, where I've come as far as my definition for success is it's simply doing something that only you can do. So, let's say for you decide I want to get older and I want to be the first one in my family to go to college and graduate.
Yeah.
Only you can do that. So when you've accomplished something like that, I would consider that to be success. It could be something as small as getting a promotion at a job, and that's what you're working hard to do. But once you've done that, only you can do that.
Yeah.
And once you've done that, I feel like that's success. In any small scale or as big as it can get, success I feel like it's just been so thrown around, and the society, social media, all these different things will throw out, price tags, cars, all these possessions, that's success. And so for a long time I got caught up on that, and I was like, man, I need this kind of car, I need to be dressing this.
It's always the dude in the Lambo and the nice suit and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So what I like about the way you said that is it's your next level.
Yes.
So it's learning never to settle for where you're at, but always what's at the next level.
Exactly. And that's been for me, I think, a very healthy way to look at success. Constantly growing and expanding and getting to that next level. And every time I do that, I remind myself I'm staying in that constant mind of success.
So now what's the next level from that next level?
Exactly.
So very cool.
Yes.
I like that. So by the way, this is the book Psyche of Success. Kind of hard to see there in the video, but that's the conference that we did. We had 13 different people that were there. 10 of them were speakers. Matt got up and spoke just a little bit, talking about that concept of changing your definition, learning to not be average.
Yeah.
Okay, so I said that was a tough one, but I've got another question for you that is probably even tougher, and that is, how do you push through your worst times? So what's your secret to keeping going?
I think for what I've experienced, the worst times up until this point, I think it's a game changer when you understand your end result. So I feel like for me, having a vision for tomorrow, having a vision for where I'm headed, that keeps me going in the worst times. So whether it be partnering, doing work with people, whether it be at family, whether it be with friends, getting to that next level of success, whatever it looks like, when those times get really hard, I have to go back to where I know I'm going.
Right.
Because I feel like when you can remind yourself of the end result, the direction that you're headed, you have something that you're moving towards. You have something that you're constantly kind of pulling towards. And so when you don't have that, it's so easy to just get stuck in the now.
Looking at that one obstacle.
Exactly. And so, man, the worst times for me, if I'm honest and I'm real, I mean, I wanted to quit, throw my hands up, and I understand why it's so easy to be average.
Yeah.
It really is. It's comfortable. It's just it's the default.
Yeah.
But when you live intentional, I think something that's so necessary for you to constantly be moving and being successful is you have a vision for where you're headed. Without a vision, it's a rut, it's a circle, you stay stagnant.
We have no definition of the future, like I say. That vision is that image you live into, so that what you're saying is these little obstacles, which would seem like mountains if you didn't have a destination.
Yep.
You go, God, I'll never get over this. But then when you've got that destination, you're like, I don't know, I see this.
Yep.
I know I'm in the valley, but there's another peak right up there.
Yep. Staying focused, man, that's huge. And it's a lot of, I've seen like the top 30 reasons for failure and stuff. And one of them I see so much in the people around me or people that I've known is self-belief. Because even if you're focused on where you're headed and where you're going, sometimes when it gets really hard, those worst times, you don't know, you start to lose that belief in yourself of, I don't even know if I'm capable to keep going. Do I really have what it takes? And I've been there. But you just have to know and believe in yourself.
So you hit on something really important there. One of the things that I talk about in a number of my books is that there's this belief loop that runs in our head. So what you believe determines what you think, which determines what you do, which determines your results.
Yes.
So what you're saying is the belief has to be, there is always a tomorrow. There is always a next step, a next level, a next thing to accomplish. Yes. So that keeps you focused on that upward climb.
Yep.
Even though it can be tough, there's an end destination.
Exactly. And that really is it. So and that goes on. I mean, I could go on for probably hours about just the mentality, the mindset, but it really is. It's just knowing you can.
Yeah.
So
one last quote that kind of goes with what you were saying, that was Henry Ford. One of his quotes was that obstacles are those frightful things that you see when you take your eyes off the prize. And so you don't even see the obstacles. They're just like speed bumps. They're not roadblocks.
That's perfect. And that's it. That really is, it's shifting the perspective, shifting your attention, and what you focus on, you get good at. So if you're focused on where you're headed, you're going to get good on focusing and heading in that direction versus, like you said, those obstacles, they just become speed bumps when you focus your attention and perspective on that end destination or where you're trying to go. So
absolutely. And you're creating not just a brand. I mean, you've got some awesome clothes. I've got several of your t-shirts, hats, that kind of stuff. But you're also creating that mindset in people.
Exactly.
So one of the things that I think about is that when you're starting something like that, you don't just go, okay, well, I hung out a shingle on the internet, now everybody's following me. So you're always putting yourself out there and building that brand. I can't imagine being able to say, okay, well, I'm going to look at this for 30 days and see what happens. Yeah. Without being able to say, okay, I'm going to look at this for 3 years to see that far enough in the distance.
Yeah.
So kind of talking about that, the next question I have for you is, what actually keeps you up at night? What makes you worry or stresses you out?
Well, a lot of times it's drinking coffee too late in the day.
That's good,
and so all of a sudden I'm just laying in bed and I needed the energy before. But as far as mindset, as far as I'm just naturally I'm the type that shutting off my brain in general is hard.
Yeah.
But I think what really the actual conversations I'm having with myself at night, I find that it's often I know what I need to be doing. I feel like I walk in my purpose and I'm intentional about that. I feel like, as well as everybody else, there's a million things to do in your day, but I often remind myself of the pain of where I've come from as far as, those worst times.
Struggles you've been through. That kind of stuff.
Exactly. And if I don't do what needs to be done, if I don't stay intentional, if I'm not constantly focused and moving, some days are better than others. Some days I'm executing and I'm doing great, and some days I'm like, man, I look back at my day and I'm like, I probably could have done a better job at being effective or getting a little bit more work done. But I feel like the pain of not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, not constantly staying moving and getting to that next level, it frustrates me to where I can't even sleep sometimes.
So that's actually perfect because it goes right along with being allergic to average in that you look at it and go, God, a normal person would just go to bed. Exactly. I can't do that. I got to do what I do.
There's just too much to do. There's just there's there's movements and there's perspectives to change. There's a whole other world that the way that I like to see it is, man, a lot of time, I mean, we wake up in the morning time. Most people wake up in the morning time, but they still walk through life asleep. They're not aware that you can create and you can design and you can develop, these different successes and things that you want to see and have them manifest. And so I'm aware of that, and I feel like the message of Allergic to Average is to encourage people to continue to create, and you're in the driver's seat of your life.
Yeah, you're in control.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's giving up control that keeps you awake.
Mm-hmm.
It's saying, life's just got me. I'm just going to back off tonight.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
No, that's frustrating, and so that definitely that keeps me up at night, and that's another thing that I've had to work through as far as we got tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow.
So that kind of leads us into the next question, which is, what are one or two of your success habits that you feel like have helped you at this point in your life?
I think the first one, and it's been the hardest by far, but it's consistency.
Get up, do the same schedule, follow the plan.
Yeah, and that's been even, like I said, I like to be real and honest, and I still at certain areas and in certain places in my life, I still struggle with, man, stay consistent, man, like stay on it.
Yeah.
And but I've noticed that consistency, man, it outworks. If you can stay consistency, let's say it's a football team and there's that guy who's just talented. He can jump higher, he can run faster, he's just more of an athlete, but he trusts in that for his skills to be seen. But there's that guy who shows up to the weight room every day. Mm-hmm. He's consistent with his workouts, with his diet. I feel like the consistency will out-trump anything else.
So it's always the fundamentals. Make sure that you're doing what you got to do every day.
It's the basics, you know. And I look at a lot of greats, let's say athletes, because that's kind of where I was on that one. But like Michael Jordan had to stay consistent with dribbling the ball, shooting a free throw, passing the ball, working with this. Those were the basics he stayed consistent with. Before you've seen him dunking in the air, everybody wearing his shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
still to this day.
Yes, exactly. So I feel like the basics and staying consistent with the daily routine, with where you're headed, staying consistent on what steps I need to take. So consistency has been, like I said, the hardest, but also the most rewarding for me. And then another big one for me is just, I feel like surrounding myself with the right people is, I couldn't put into words how important that is.
Yeah, and when I was really young and first starting out in business, one of the things the guy told me, he said, you don't have enough time to make all the mistakes yourself. You need to go learn from people who have already screwed stuff up.
I agree.
And learn the hard lessons who can go, okay, now you got it. So I look at it like intelligence is when you can learn from your mistakes.
Yes.
But wisdom is when you don't have to make them yourself and you can just learn from what somebody else already screwed up.
And that's, I see that as a skill because so many, me being a millennial, it frustrates me because a lot of people that are millennials or younger, they just, for some reason, they've got this mentality of I'll do it myself, I'll figure it out. Yeah. And it's no, that's kind of that's a cancer. You don't need to do that. And I understand your drive, and I understand that you want to be somebody that can handle it and improve yourself. But at the same time, there's something about cutting that learning curve in half. Learn, like you said, learn from other people's mistakes.
Why screw it up if they've already done that?
Exactly. Yeah, and so mentors, working with you's been, that's a game changer by far. One of the biggest. But linking up with, like I said, mentors, there's a lot more people that are willing to really, and people don't realize this, but there's a lot more people willing to help you if you just simply ask.
Yeah, and that was what I learned too early on is I got some really awesome mentors because I asked.
And it was just that simple.
Yeah. Now, and I'll tell you, I pay a coach, but I still go to those mentors who are just willing to help. And I don't pay my mentors to help me, but I always try to provide something back to them.
Exactly.
And so it's been a good relationship for me and for them.
Yeah.
And I'm about to be 45 years old, and I still am God, I've got so much to learn.
Yes, exactly. So, it's a nonstop. It's a healthy, but it's nonstop, cycle of constantly you keep learning, you keep growing, keep learning, keep growing.
Okay, so that feeds into our final question here, which is, what's the best lesson that you've learned related to success in your life that you could share with the viewers? In other words, if you were going to give them some advice, what advice would you give them?
Okay, so because I have, my mind goes, in so
50
many
directions, yeah.
But I think for me, what I would have wanted to hear, let's say 2 years back, something that it's taken me 24 years to learn, and I'm still, like I said, developing and understanding truly, but it's letting go of the, like, and a lot of people talk about it, but let go of the concept of instant gratification, yes. Whatever that looks like. Especially like,
high five you on that.
Yeah, because it's just, for some reason, we look at the older generations as millennials, and I'm talking because I'm a millennial, so I'm around them. But we look at the older generation, and we want what they have. Yeah. Which is understandable, sure. We look at grandma and grandpa, we look at mom and dad, whatever it may be, and they have a nice house, they have time and money to go on vacations, whatever it may be. And so as a millennial, we look at that, and in our current time, things, it's getting quicker and quicker for you to get there. Grandma and grandpa, it took them 60 years to get that house. Yeah. But, as a millennial, you can, follow somebody on YouTube or social media, and it's like, man, they have this nice house, or they have that swimming pool, and so you're like, why can't I have it? Yeah. And the reality is we can, but we expect because,
you see it, you want it.
Yeah, and we're just, we forget that there's this whole journey, there's this whole process that takes place to get there. And so we try one thing out and it fails, it's not going to get us to that house, so we drop it. We try this out, it didn't work, so we drop it. And so there's no building of anything. There's no consistency of anything. Yeah. So I feel like that's been a big problem.
And I think that's huge, man. I mean, because I know, like Zane Williams, he's a Texas country music artist. Gotcha. And one of the songs that he sings is Overnight Success. Oh. And he's kind of making fun of it because he's like, I've been playing for 10 years. I'm hitting the bars. I'm, on the road every single week. I'm busting my butt. I put out 4 albums. Yep. And then one day you wake up and people go, I know you. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden you're successful. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been doing training and development now for 2 decades. So I got 20 years doing public speaking, keynotes, that kind of stuff. 17 and a half on my own, not even working for anybody else. And I will tell you, it was 10 years in before people started going, aren't you Jody Holland?
I believe it.
And so, I think you're absolutely right. I didn't give up on it, but it sure was not successful overnight.
Yep. And so that's, more and more people are just more about, opportunity. They see the opportunity, but it wasn't what they thought. There's more commitment. There's more energy and effort required than they envisioned, so they're out. And, even with, the hip-hop culture is really popular among this generation with the younger crowds. But if you really listen, and you understand, like, you can hear in their lyrics, it's taken them, 6, 8, 9, 10 years to get where they're at. Yeah. To be that overnight. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, for me, I've had to understand that, kind of looking at, possibly a third business here pretty soon for me. But one thing that I've had to mature and kind of understand is take into consideration that it's going to take some time to build this. And you're going to have to commit. You're going to give this some time. How many years are you willing to actually put forth to see this succeed? But it's so hard to think that way because we have fast food at every corner. Yeah. I mean, things are just quicker.
Everything is throwaway.
Yeah, we've traded, the long term, the commitment, everything for just convenience and for instant gratification. Yeah. And so everything is kind of centered around that. So that's another part of the mindset that with Allergic to Average, and a lot of these other successful things that you talk about. It's just we have to shift that mindset. Yeah. It doesn't work that way.
Well, and that's what the word that he and I were talking about. What was it, about a month ago? Was shift. Shift, yeah. Becomes the word that we look at to filter our world through. So are we shifting into that right mindset? Shifting the direction we need to go.
Absolutely. And the last thing that I'll say real quick is just, man, the biggest thing for me is patience. Yeah. Patience is unreal, and I know the vision. I know where I'm headed. I'm staying consistent with movements and seeing that success happen. And I just have to understand to stay patient.
Yeah, take your time.
Yeah,
stay
and so
focused.
Whoever's watching, whatever it may be for you, getting that mentality of understanding, like, first to change your reality, shift the mentality. That's the first part. But then when you've gotten there and you're continuing to climb on as far as those successes, getting to the next level, understand just to be patient with yourself. As long as you're keeping track, you're moving, you're being successful in that way, just stay patient. It doesn't happen overnight, and the consistency will get you there. The patience will eventually get you there. So that's what I've had to learn, and I keep that with me. So
yeah. Hey, Jody Holland, this is the Psyche of Success video blog. Love to have you guys subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you look down in the show description and look for that subscribe link that's in there. Share it with your friends. Tell everybody about it. I know Matt's going to be sharing it on his Facebook page and a few other places. Love to have you guys following. If you have any questions, make sure you send those in. Send them to success@jodyholland.com. Also, follow me on Twitter @JodyandHolland. Look for me on Facebook. Look for Jody Holland Training and Speaking. Look forward to seeing you guys on another episode. Matt, thank you very much.
Yes,
Matt.
sir. Absolutely.
We'll be seeing you at the coffee shop.
All right. That'll work.
All right. Take care, guys.
See ya.